everyone, welcome back to another episode of me talking away. I don't know what kind of an intro that was, but episode 9. Oh my goodness, you guys. Oh my goodness, it was so good. It was so good. It was so good. So good. I am so excited to start talking about this. I took notes. I just finished watching the episode for the second time because, you know, a couple quick things I wanted to discuss before I started my review. So what's it called? Today's Wednesday. Yesterday, Tuesday, March 8th was the publication date for Lady Midnight. So Lady Midnight came out yesterday. It's published and it's out there and everybody has it. I don't have it yet. It should be getting to my house in like a day or two. Hopefully. It needs to get here now. I need it. But what's it called? I have my Lady Midnight read-along thing that I've been trying to do. And so I have the Instagram and Twitter. I actually did a Twitter for it. And it's linked down below if you want to check that out. The Instagram is just for pictures. So yesterday I started a hashtag Lady Midnight read-along thing. So like to send me your pictures of you like unboxing it or just posing with it or whatever you want. I just want to see everybody's pictures like with their first day of having Lady Midnight. And yeah, so if you guys want to check that out and send me your pictures, that would be cool. And so from here until March 31st, I'm going to have the like hashtags either of you like, I don't know, cosplaying or just your pretty pictures with the book, or I don't know, like I don't know what I'm gonna come up with yet. I probably should have by now. If you have any ideas, let me know. But yeah, I'm Instagram just because I want to see all your pictures with the books because you guys take some really good pictures. There's some really nice book pictures on Instagram and they're just beautiful. So yesterday, Cassandra Clare was in LA at the Grove, at the Barnes & Noble at the Grove. And I was so mad because I was totally planning on going, but like things got complicated and I had school and I found out about that wristband thing and how you needed to get a wristband to get in, and like the doors open at 9 a.m. and I wasn't gonna like leave my house at 5 o'clock in the morning to drive all the way to LA. So, I wasn't able to go, which sucked, but you know, and I was kind of upset because, they released, that she's gonna be in LA, and then, Kat and Emerald were also gonna be there. And then last week they announced that Harry and Isaiah were gonna be there too. And I was like, this is like New York all over again. But it's okay. You know, hopefully they'll have another event closer to where I am and something will happen. But yeah, that's something that happened yesterday. I'm like making myself hot. And also, okay, I thought I would do a quick little reaction before I started talking about this week's episode because they released 2 sneak peeks for next week's episode, and I thought I could just react because it looks awesome. So we are just going to do that really fast because I want to watch these before I do this, and that'll just make me even more excited to talk, and it'll just be a grand old time. Okay, so I'm just gonna react to the first one. There's 2 of them out, and one of them, okay, Shadowhunters 110 sneak peek, Clary and Magnus. Okay, so it's just gonna be like good old times when I freaked out. Okay, here we go.
Tonight will define your relationship. You hope he is your son.
He looks like Harry.
But secrets revealed will threaten to tear you apart.
Secrets? The secret? Like the secret? Oh my god!
You don't have a cat.
I have 2. Chairman Meow.
Oh my god!
And Church.
Oh my god!
I'm not actually
This
here
is-
for anything. I know you're a warlock, Magnus.
What? Oh my god!
I'm a shadow hunter.
This is
There are
amazing!
no more Shadowhunters.
Oh my god! Chairman Meow and Church! You guys! Okay, so that was amazing. Chairman Meow and Church, and oh my goodness. Okay, so, the Shadowhunters 110 sneak peek number 2, this looks like it has Lydia and Alec in it, so we're just gonna start it, and, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
For what?
What'd you do?
Isabel Lightwood, by order of the Clave, you are under arrest.
No!
On what grounds?
Only a handful of people know about the Mellie or not.
And everyone knows she's sleeping with him.
Hey.
You know what, Lydia? You're no better than Valentine. But at least he had the guts to tell downworlders to their faces he wanted them all dead. You?
No.
Hide behind the law.
No, she doesn't.
I don't hide behind it, Isabel. I simply follow it. Because it guards against one very important thing. Shadowhunters fighting other Shadowhunters.
If she's convicted, she'll be stripped of her runes and banished.
No.
I can't let that.
Don't. It's not your fight.
Izzy. Okay. I'm still not over the cats. I'm still not over that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm just gonna get on into my review. Oh, another thing, quick thing before I continue talking. This is like a 10-minute intro. Jeez. But I have been reading the tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, the stories, and so I have 3 more to read. I read the first 7. I finished the 7th last night. I still have Fiery Trial, and then the last 2, I forgot what they're called, to read, and so I'll have them read before Lady Midnight gets here, and then next week I will have reviews, probably 2, like 1 through 5, and then 6 through 10, next week to discuss them, because they're just so wonderful, and then I'll have my Lady Midnight, review, like, in a few weeks. And then also, somebody asked me to do a review about this thing, so I will do that next week too, probably. Okay, so like I've been saying for about 10 minutes now, let's just get into the review. Okay, so to start off, this episode was really fast paced, which was awesome. Starts exactly where it left off in the last episode. So Simon is running off, and then he runs into Raphael, and so they're having a talk, and Raphael, or Simon looks into the in his reflection, and he's like, I can see my reflection. I'm like, child, no, that's not how vampires work in this world. We got in the preview last week of Simon throwing somebody, and that somebody was Raphael, and then he gets out, he's like, oh, my jacket. I'm like, how many of these jacket, like, things are we gonna have in this show? But they're just simply amazing. And then poor Simon like runs off, and so eventually Raphael is still standing there for a minute, and Jace and Clary are like running exactly where he came, and they run into Raphael, and then so Clary's just like, I don't care about your vampire politics. I'm like, I care about the vampire politics. I think it's quite interesting. And so the next thing after that is Alec and Izzy and Robert is trying to patch Alec up, and Jace calls Alec, and so Izzy answers. Oh, Izzy is always just a protective Izzy, always so protective. I just love her so much, and it's just amazing. Anyways, and so okay, the gash on Alec's arm was really disgusting and gross, and so I'm gonna give major props to the makeup department for that, because that was awesome. One thing I noticed about Izzy in this episode was just how like emotional she is, because throughout the entire episode she had really glassy eyes throughout the entire time, so you could tell that she was like on the verge of tears like half the time, and it's just like, Izzy, I want to hug you. Okay, and then right after that we get back to Jason Clary, and they have their little place moment, and she's just like, yeah, that we need to talk about us. And then right after that they make out, and she's like, excellent talk. I'm like, yeah, we need to talk about a relationship, but first we're just gonna make out and not talk about a relationship. Okay, so after Clace is done having their moments, we go back to the Institute, and Magnus is there, and he's putting up all his wards on the Institute walls, and he's just so Magnus, just, yeah, this and that, and I was just like, I love him. I don't know why, this episode especially, I really liked his makeup that they gave him. It was like a triangle or something, and I was just like, I like that very much. And, okay, so then he's with Robert, and he's like, oh, is it gonna work? Da, 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 da. And he goes to Alec, and he's like, oh, I can fix that up for you, free of charge. And Alec's like, you know, I'm fine. Magnus, I'm good. And Magnus's face, he kind of looked like he flinched when Alec, like, he didn't snap at him, but he was just like, dude, I'm fine, seriously. And so he was just like, okay. So that was the beginning of a very painful later scene. And so Magnus is like, yeah, that I want to meet this Lydia person. And I'm like, I want you to meet her too. That's going to be an interesting, like, scene with them too, because it's like, I kind of want them to know each other, but then, like, I know that Magnus is gonna not like her, but he's gonna be sad because of just reasons, and I just, So then right after Melliorn walks in, and he is getting arrested, and so we're getting a lot more Melliorn in the show than we did in the book, and I'm really enjoying it, because Jade is like an amazing Melliorn. Oh my goodness! And so yesterday, I don't know if you guys saw him on Snapchat, he was the only person on the Shadowhunter Snapchat, because everybody else was like in LA, or at the Grove or whatever. And so he's hilarious. And so I tweeted him, I'm like, oh, that you were really funny last night on Snapchat. And he liked it. And I was like, ah! Anyways, okay, so what's it called? Yeah, we're getting a lot more Melliorn in the show, and I'm really liking it because they're including the fairies a lot more. And we didn't get a lot of fairies until later on in the books, and we're gonna get a lot of them in Lady Midnight, and I'm excited for that. And I don't know why, to me it looked like he had something like in his mouth right here. Like, didn't his like I don't know, because he was wearing like lip gloss or something, or he had glitter on him, but he just looked like he had a bigger mouth than Jade does. Was that just me? I don't know. Okay, and so then Izzy and Lydia, they don't like each other. Or Izzy for sure does not like Lydia. And so they kind of they didn't have it out, but they had a discussion. And so I felt really bad for Lydia, and I can understand where she's coming from because of the reasons that she gave later on when she was talking to Alec. And she's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want, all this bad stuff to happen, but I have orders, and I'm from the Clave, and I need to carry out these orders because that's her job. And so she makes it clear, especially to Alec later on, when she's like, yeah, that's how John died. And he's like, I didn't want to watch the torture, and so we weren't able to get that information to know that there was hundreds of demons in that thing, and that's how he got killed. So it's like, she has a really good heart, and she wants peace within the Downworlders and the Shadowhunters, and she wants like all this good stuff to happen, but she's in really difficult position because of the fact that she's an envoy from the Clave and she needs to follow orders, but she's doing it. She doesn't want to do it. And so it's like, she's really conflicted, and it's like really hard to watch because like everybody hates her for this, but she doesn't want to do it. And so it's like, Lydia. I'm kind of glad that Alec, it was conflicting with Alec this episode. Oh my God. But I'm glad that he at least was like backing her up, because at least somebody was. Okay. And so we get to Alec, Izzy, and Jace. And I just love it when these siblings get together, but in the way that they got together today, I was just not liking that. They were talking, or Alec was talking to Alec while he was like beating up that thing, and he's like hurting himself. I'm like, Alec, stop. And so she's like, you're gonna hurt yourself. And I'm like, oh, always protective Izzy. And so, what's it called? They're talking, and then Jace comes up to them, and then Lydia comes up. She's like, oh, did you tell them? And Alec's like, oh, well, me and Lydia are engaged. And so, I thought that Alec was gonna be the one to like sit them down and be like, hey, you know what? This is what's happening. But, and he did technically, but Lydia was the one who initiated for him to tell them. And so Izzy, she was so mad. She looked really hurt because she's like, you know what? It's your life to ruin. And I'm like, oh God. So Izzy was really mad and hurt, and Jace was he like almost didn't even know what to do with himself. He was just like, well, I don't even know what to say. And so he walked off. So I don't think he like completely processed what was happening at that point. And I feel like they were both hurt because Alec just said, he's like, yeah, we're engaged. As if like nothing, as if this wasn't going to change their lives like forever if this actually happened. And so I was hoping, in a perfect world, that Alec would, sit them down, be like, hey, this is the plan that we have. This is what's going on. And, that's that. And like with love. But he was just like, yeah, we're getting married. And what? And I was just like, you need to get with Jace and Izzy because they love you and they will back you up, and just explain to them what is happening, Alec. And so I need them all to love each other again. I'm like, this hurts my insides. Okay, so then the scene after that is the scene with Simon and his mom, and he goes back home, and he's just sitting, and I don't know why, I just find it very attractive when guys wear blue. I don't know why, but Simon was wearing a blue shirt, and I always like notice when any guy, just when you wear blue. I don't know why, but I just find it attractive. Anyways, on to what matters. Simon and his mom. And so his mom is just like, where have you been? She's like crying, and then they're hugging, and his fangs come out. I'm like, no, Simon, put them back in. Like, don't do that. So then Clary comes, and I had a feeling that she was going to come. And so she basically saves Simon from himself and from his mom, because she takes him away knowing that he'll come back later, but she didn't want him to go through this right now. And so I was really sad because his mom, he's like, he's so pale, isn't he? I'm like, yeah, he is, because he's a vampire. So Simon, or Alberto, did a really good job in that scene. Like when his mom went out to touch him, and he's like, no, don't. And he just did a really good job. And I'm loving Alberto as Simon so much. Like, I don't know how many times I've said that, but he's just doing such a good job. And it was really emotional, that scene between him and his mom, especially when they both like wanted to cry. And I'm just like, you're gonna make me cry. Stop. Oh man. And then we come back to the Institute after Clary and Simon leave his house. And we get that scene with Alec and Robert. And that was really interesting because Robert's kind of mad at Alec, like, we were going to tell you to get married, but not to her. Like, you guys are going to ruin everything. And he's like, you know what? no. Like, I was kind of happy that Robert was mad because, and so Alec's like, you know what? No, you guys messed everything up. You're part of the circle. And so that comes out and I was like, whoa. And so, what's it called? Alec, or what was I going to say? And so Robert obviously is like, whoa, how and why does he know this? And so Alec's like, yeah. So I'm going to fix all of your mistakes and I'm going to do it my way. And so what is Robert going to say? Because I mean, he's kind of right. Also, their height differences, I can't get over that. I cannot get over the height differences between anybody and Matt. It's so funny. Okay, then we got those scenes with Clary, Simon, and Luke is just such the father figure. I love him so much. He's not only like Clary's dad, but he was also there for Simon, and I love Luke. And it was so weird because Simon was reacting. I'm like, man, I bet if I was turned into a vampire and like I found out my best friend did it or something, I would probably be reacting the same way that Simon would. So he was reacting very realistically for a guy that just got turned into a vampire. And so now I'm just really curious as to how they're going to do the whole daylighter thing, because if you remember, I think he like drinks blood from Jace or something. And so that's why he becomes a daylighter. And so now that they're changing stuff, I don't know like if that boat scene is going to happen. So I'm really curious as to how they're going to do that. Okay. And so then after that, I was talking about, what was I talking about? Oh, Simon being daylighter. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know how they're going to do that. Like what? I don't know. What are they going to do? But I'm excited to find out. I'll tell you that much. Anyway, so then after that, we get back to the Institute. And so Alec was like, said something about, oh, yeah, like he's my parabaton. I don't know what he said. But yeah, of course he's going to take my side. And he's like, and Jace, speaking in third person, he's like, yeah, Jace Wayland is Switzerland. I'm like, okay, Bella. Okay. But yeah, I just had Twilight flashbacks with this episode. So, you know. Then I had another Twilight flashback when it was back to Simon and Clary and Luke, and I just got a text message. What do you want, friend? Teen Wolf. Yeah, okay. Anyways, and so I thought of another thing, Twilight related. I don't know why I thought of Twilight so much with this episode. The Switzerland thing. I know I wasn't the only one. I saw you guys on Tumblr. But when Simon or Luke gave Simon that blood bag and Simon just kind of looked at it and like put it away and like pouted, and Luke was like, oh, it'll get better. And Simon was just like, And I was just like, he's so cute when he's pouty. And I'm like, Bella would have done the exact opposite. She guzzled that blood. That was what she did. Anyways, we're talking about Shadowhunters. Okay. And so they go back to Raphael. They go back to the Hotel du Mort because that's the only place that they can go without being found after Clary did the room thing. So, what's it called? They go back there and Raphael is like talking his talk about how, the werewolf can't stay and the Shadowhunter and you kill my people and whatever he said. And Simon, this episode was just so fantastic. Alberto, just amazing job, dude. You're not watching this, but just amazing job, man. And so, Raphael, he's like, this isn't a hotel. And Simon's like, technically, yeah, it is. I'm like, started laughing so hard. So many great one-liners. It was just amazing. Anyways, and so the Raphael and Luke banter then, and then later on, after they had all like, gone together, and so he's like, hey, sit, and this, and that, and that, and so Luke ended it with play dead, and Simon's like, boom, and then they just did the hand thing. Oh, I'm living for that. That is amazing. Their banter was amazing. I loved it so much. Like, if we can get more of that, that would be great, because it wasn't like for real tech, kind of. But yeah, so Clary throughout this entire episode and probably the next one, she's playing diplomat, and I think she's doing a really great job because she just wants the peace in the world and for everybody to be happy. And so I was really happy with how Clary, like what they did with Clary's character in this episode. How she's like, oh yeah, that you need Simon alive, and I'm like, you are so smart, girl, so smart. Okay, so then they go back into the Hotel du Mort, and Raphael puts Simon and Clary into this like box thing, and I really like this scene. I really like the conversation between Clary and Simon. It really like they patch things up, and I like the parallel of Simon like looking back at her when he was hungry, like really mean, and then later on when he was looking back at her the same way but with a smile on his face. I'm like, Simon, I want to hug your dead self. That's weird to say. So I thought it was hilarious how Raphael gave Simon after Simon was like, Raphael! And he came and he gave Simon the blood, and then he put a nice touch. It was very classy of the little lime wedge on the glass. So that was extremely Raphael. And he's like, yeah, hasta luego. I'm like, again with the Spanish. Yes. Okay, so then we get to one of the most anticipated scenes of the episode. I still think that there was a later scene that was more heartbreaking than this one, but I'm talking about the Magnus and Alec scene. And so Magnus was getting the stele from Alec, and he gave it to Jason and all that. And so he comes out and he's like, oh, well, I'm done warding, this. Good job for one day's work or whatever he said. And then one thing I noticed that Alec, he really softens up, and he really just opens up to Magnus whenever he's around him. And that's something he doesn't even do around his sister or around Jace especially. And so he just gets really soft when he's around Magnus. And I love it so much, and I can't wait for them to actually get together. But that will come soon. Anyways, and so he's like, yeah, by the way, I proposed to Lydia. And so Magnus actually reacted in a way that I was not expecting him to. In my mind, I kind of picture that scene being like, oh yeah, I'm marrying Lydia. He would have been like, I thought he was going to be like, oh, okay. And look really hurt and then just walk off. I didn't expect them to have a whole conversation about it. But I really liked it because Magnus, he obviously covers up his pain with sarcasm. And so that's something that he does. And so you could just tell that he was hurting really bad on the inside, and I just wanted to give Magnus a hug, and he's like, marriage is a wonderful institution, or whatever he said. He's like, not that I would know. And I'm like, oh God, just give it time. So yeah, that happened, and that was sad. And so, okay, so then right after that, Jace has the stele, and so they're about to leave, and he's trying to console Izzy, which I thought was really nice. I love Izzy with her brothers, and I was wanting to see more Jace and Izzy, and I wanted them to be happy, but Izzy was so upset because she's like, this is all my fault. I'm like, no, it's not, sweetie, no, it's not. And Jace was telling her that he's like, this isn't all your fault. They just put a whole bunch of not true things together and made up a story. And so Izzy's so upset. I wanted to hug her. And so Hodge comes up and he lets them go. Okay. I have a theory about the wedding. And oh my goodness, they released the Malik episode pictures today. And I freaked out. Oh my goodness. So it actually turns out that their clothes are in fact gold. They look gold in the HD pictures. And also we're getting Ragnarfell, and oh my goodness, I'm so excited. But anyways, my theory is that I've seen a whole bunch of theories about, oh, the wedding is gonna happen. It's obviously gonna happen. The marriage is not gonna happen, but the whole wedding, the day it's gonna happen. And so people are like, yeah, Valentine is gonna stop the wedding. And so my thing is, okay, I think that Hodge is gonna be the one to stop the wedding. I feel like they're gonna be like, oh, whoever has anything to say, whatever. And Hodge, at some point in the wedding, before they put the runes on them, that he's gonna stop it. He's gonna stand up, and he might even give a little speech or something, be like, oh, you Shadowhunter. I don't know what he would say, but I feel like Hodge is gonna be the one to stop it. And that's when they'll show his betrayal, and then that's when he'll let in either Valentine or the Forsaken or all of his people, and he'll do something, and that will be how, they show Hodge's betrayal, and that'll be how, the marriage stops and everything. So that's my theory, and if I'm right, that'll be an exciting day for me. So kind of, yeah, Valentine is going to be the one to stop it, but Hodge is going to be the one to let Valentine stop it, because he's going to be the one to I don't know, open the doors or something. And so that's my theory, that Hodge is going to be the one to stop the wedding, because nobody else is going to. Alec and Lydia aren't going to. Alec might, but at this point I really don't think he's going to. Izzy and Jace aren't, because I don't think they are. And so Robert and Maris, I don't think they're going to stop it either. And so that just leaves Hodge, in my opinion. So I really feel like he's going to be the one to stop it. And I'm so excited to see how that scene plays out. Okay, so onward from that, we go back to the scene with Clary and Simon. And she's like, how are you feeling? He's like, I'm drinking blood, Clary. I'm like, I found that funny. I don't know. He just had so many great one-liners. And I just love the conversation because, like I said before, they patch things up. And he's like, angry, and she's like, I understand if you hate me. He's like, angry with you? Yeah. He's like, but I can never hate you. And I'm just like, oh, you guys are great. Stay best friends. I wonder now, if they're seriously going to go through with like the whole climbing thing. I'm curious as to if they're going to do that. Oh, and I also really love the scene where Clary was like playing diplomat again with Raphael and his people, or his numbers. And it was so funny because Raphael said something and Jace was like, oh yeah, but you kidnapped the mundane, remember? And Simon's in the background like, yeah, that was me. And I was just like, Simon! Oh god, I just love him so much. Clary was so good. She was such a leader. She was great. And I loved how Simon was like accepting the fact that he was a vampire, and I don't think that was rushed in this episode either. Oh, I thought, okay, when they were all walking, when Luke was walking with his pack and Raphael was walking with his vamps and Clary was walking with Simon and Izzy and Jace, I thought they looked so cool. They were all just walking, looking like a total squad, and I don't know what music they had playing, but it looked really cool. And then it like panned out and it was like the whole big warehouse or whatever, and with the small group of them walking. And it, again with Twilight, it reminded me of that scene in Breaking Dawn. I don't know if you remember, like towards the end when they're having the big fight with the Volturi, and then it pans out to like these small two groups of people in this huge like snowy thing. It just reminded me of that. I don't know. Then again, this was the part with the Simon, with the Luke and Raphael banter, and then Simon's like boom, and they do the thing. Oh, that was my favorite part of this entire episode because it did not make me cry. Everything else did. Okay, and then also when they were, fighting the people that were with Alec, the Shadowhunters, and they did the fast motion thing. I thought that looked really cool. It didn't look cheesy at all. I know it had previously, but with the Shadowhunters, like moving fast. But the way that the vampires were moving in this episode was really cool. It looked fast and it didn't look cheesy to me. The werewolves didn't look cheesy to me either. I mean, they looked like obviously like TV werewolves, but they weren't bad. They looked cool. And so the vampires went and got the Shadowhunters, and then Izzy looked awesome, like throwing that grenade, tear gas, I don't know what the heck that was, and then with her whip, and I'm like, yes, Izzy, yes. All right, so then we finish with that, and then we get to just the worst scene of this entire episode, because it broke my heart, like, seriously. Y'all know what I'm talking about, the Jason Alex scene with the fighting and the not niceness. I did not appreciate it. I need them to, I was watching this scene last night and about an hour ago, and I have not felt a twinge in my fangirl heartstrings since I read Clockwork Princess and Will came out of that tavern. You know what I'm talking about. Oh my god. Okay, so we start off, Alec is alone. Everybody got taken away from him. And so he's alone with Mellie, and he's like pushing him, taking him, and he does the rune to open up the door to the Silent City. And it's right there, and they're about to go through it, but then Clary's like, yo, Alec, and then he stops, and then he looks back, and Jace is in his way, and won't let him go into the City of Bones. And so Clary is like, you know, you're taking this too far, and whatever she said, and Jace, they're like, and so Jace, like, initially jumps, basically, on Alec and tackles him. He tackles him, that's what the word. He tackles him to the ground, and he's like, Clary and Mellie run, and so they run. And then Jace and Alec have it out. And so Jace has Alec like in a hold like that. And he's like, you know, I know what this is about. Like, we know what this is about. And Alec is like, oh, what is the legendary Jace Whalen? Why don't you tell us what this is about? And Jace is like, oh, it's about your feelings. It's because you're in, and then Alec didn't let him finish that sentence and he just tackled him all over again. So I was like, wait just a minute. Wait just a minute here. I have neighbors. They're probably wondering why I'm screaming. I'm like, was he about to finish that sentence with, it's because you're in love with me? Is that what he was going to say? Because if that's so, did Jace know this whole time? Like, what? I need explanations. I just need more scenes of this ASAP. And so I'm over here thinking, okay, so these boys, they grew up together, they learned how to fight together, they're paired with tie, they know each other's weaknesses. So I'm over here thinking they're fighting and they're probably going after each other's weaknesses, knowing that it's each other's weaknesses, and that just pained my heart even more because they were hurting each other in ways that they knew that they were going to hurt each other. Like, I'm pretty sure Alec or Jace put Alec in that neck hold thing that he did because that was something that maybe Alec didn't know how to get out of. I mean, he did get out of it, but just the pair of a tie, you're not supposed to fight. I was like, no, stop. And so Alec finally throws Jace over himself, and that was hard. Oh my goodness. And so Alec is just over him, and Jace is like, do it. I'm like, no, don't do it. And so Jace, I wrote it down. What did he say? He's like, I don't want to be alive if we're on different sides, Alec. Oh, that hurt me on the inside. I'm like, wow, their parabatai bond is really showing. And Dom did a really good job. I don't feel like we talk about Dom enough, because Dom is a wonderful Jace, in my opinion. I know some people don't like him, but I think Dom is doing a wonderful job. And in this scene, he looked so heartbroken. Like, he wanted to cry. His eyes were glassy. He was looking up at Alec, and he finally got up, and he's telling him, he's like, we're not going to be on the same different sides. Like, either fight with me and we'll do this the right way. We'll do it together. And Jace looks at him. He's literally begging him. He's like, I'm begging you, Alec, like, come back with me and we'll do this together. And so Alec is just sitting there, and he looks up at him. So for a minute there, Alec doesn't respond. So I'm like, oh, he's going to say yes. He says no. And and the look on Jace's face when his parabatai said no, I could not handle that. Here's the boy who has not cried since his so-called father broke his pet falcon's neck. Here's the boy who, claims that he does not have feelings, and he was crying. I mean, he walked away and he was probably crying. And I remember there's a plane. I don't know if you can hear that, but there was a part, they released it a long time ago, and it was of that scene of Jace looking like he wanted to cry. I don't know, I don't remember when or where it came out. I don't remember, but I thought that was gonna be after he learned about Clary and he was like walking away because he couldn't handle that. No, that was because of Alec. And and so that scene was horrible. And then, okay, we get the thing for next week, and there's gonna be a part where they're like screaming each other's names. Alec is on a bed screaming for Jace. Jace is probably hurt by something, and he's screaming for Alec, and I can't. Okay, so Alec says no. Jace looks up and looks extremely hurt and heartbroken, and he walks off. And so the next scene is with Clary and Simon, and she's basically saying bye to Simon for now. He's with the vampires, and Raphael's like, welcome home. I'm like, Raphael. And so the camera kind of pans to Jace, and he looks like he wants to cry, and I'm just like, can I give you a hug? Like, you need a hug, buddy. Like, can I just So Clary leaves with Jace, and then they walk out, and Izzy and Mellie are making out. I would totally, if I didn't know about Simon, and if I wasn't such a sissy shipper, to the max, I would probably ship Mellie and Izzy. The only reason that I kind of cringe when they make out is because I'm like, no, go to Simon. That's one thing I've noticed. Nobody's complaining about the fact that Simon and Izzy aren't together yet. I mean, I know that it doesn't happen till later, but a lot of other things didn't happen till later, just like Simon becoming a vampire. So everybody's complaining, or not everybody, but a lot of people are complaining about how Malik isn't happening yet. I'm like, hey, Sissy isn't happening either, and nobody's complaining about that. Oh man, okay, and then Mellie, he's like, the scene ends with him being like, hey, I can help you find your father. And so then we get the dramatic going in of Clary's face. And so apparently that's what the rest of these episodes are going to be. There's 4 episodes left, and 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's going to be an intense 4 episodes, and my feelings are just my heart's going to explode. The next episode is going to be the alternate universe episode, as we know. And I am so excited for that episode. You have no idea. I saw, okay, I've been reading the Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, and there's a lot of Sizzy, and it's just magical. And so in next week's episode, they should have that little 2-second scene or clip from the, what's it called? The thing for next week. And it showed, Simon and Izzy sitting together, and Izzy was wearing her Star Wars shirt with her glasses and her hair in a braid. Oh my god! That was so cute. And then he's like, I'm gonna ask Izzy to move in with me, and then Jason Clary, and then I can't. I'm so excited for next week's episode. Oh my god. Okay, so that is it for this video. all of my feels. As per usual, please comment all of your feels down below. I mean, Jason Alec pretty much killed my heart this episode. So please leave all your comments down below. So yeah, that's all. I think that's all I have to say about this episode and everything Shadowhuntery related. I'm still waiting for Lady Midnight. I'm probably going to do an unboxing because I need it. Yeah, so that is the end of this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!